This
webinar.
conference will
Uh, in
now be
today's
recorded.
in today's webinar, we will be we will be understanding the data model. After that, we will understand creating table relationship in Excel data model, and in the last we will go to a walkthrough of business analysis using Power Pivot. So before going forward in our objective, achieving the objective, I would like to share these resources available on website sqlbi.com. These resources are authorized by the Microsoft, and I recommend all the participants after this webinar to attend this website. These websites contain free courses also. Please enroll yourself and learn from these experts of Power Pivot and the writers of Microsoft book titled as Analyzing Data with Microsoft Power BI and Power Pivot for Excel. So let's start with the first objective, that is data model. Imagine you have start a business of an automobile showroom where you sell different automobiles including bike, car, cycles, so on and so forth. Every day customers come, they purchase on and off. Different customer come, they purchase. Simultaneously, what you are doing, you are recording all of these transactions, all of these customer records, all of these product records in a table. Gradually, what will happen? The table size is limited in Microsoft Excel. By the passage of time, you will limit the resource available in Microsoft Excel, that is sale range. And what if after what we will do after these cells are filled completely? So with this example, what is happening? We are increasing the level of details in our table, and we're also duplicating the information. For example, the customer ID 108 contained information of Mr. John, who is male. On the third row, the same person come on another day, that is April 4, 2020. Again, we record Mr. John, male, with the customer ID 108. For example, imagine this customer is a regular customer and come once in a week. So for 52 times, we are recording his information in our Excel spreadsheet. What if after 5 years, if we have different customers, right? So what is the impact? The rows of Microsoft Excel is limited to certain number. Exceeding 1 million number, it will start memory usage will be not optimal, and also we can also perform basic calculations since complex calculation will take time in performing the calculation matrices. So we have seen what we are doing with this data table. We are duplicating the information, we are increasing the amount of information in this table. Impact, we have also analyzed the table impact of this information. So what's the solution? The solution is we have to leverage the data model by identifying business entity, and for each business entity we have to create one separate table, right? In our example, we have customer as one business entity. So what we have to do, we have to pull out this customer information, store in another sheet or table, and this table should contain single customer information. For example, in our table, Mr. John has been recorded twice. In this table, we will record Mr. John only once, right? Similarly, the another business entity is product ID. We will do same with the product ID. We will copy paste the product information in another table, and will be restore it once in a table, right? And with this product ID and customer ID, we will create another table where we will link this customer ID and product ID with the other information of the sales records, right? So we have invoice date, we have customer ID, we have product ID, and we have sales amount. So with this customer ID, our system will analyze that 108 means Mr. John, who is male. With product ID 270-CY, it's cycle, and the price of cycle is already stored in our system. So this is how we design the data model, right? So in our first example, where we were recording all the information in a singular table, this type of table is known as fact table, and this type of data set is known as denormalized data. Whereas in another example, we have created separate table, separate business entity table connected with the data table. This type of data modeling is known as normalized data, right? So what is data normalization? Data normalization is a process of organizing tables and columns in a relational database, right? So we have seen the disadvantage of denormalized data. Let's analyze the advantages of normalization of database, right? So first advantage is we will reduce the size of our Excel spreadsheet or the data warehouse where our data is stored. We will optimize the speed and also enhance the efficiency of data. That will resultantly eliminate redundant data. That is, it will decrease the table size, improve processing and speed and efficiency of the data processing. Second, we can easily modify the errors and anomalies occurring in the database, right? We can easily insert new data, we can easily update the data, we can easily delete the record. Imagine if you have maintained Mr. John 108 male gender 52 times. If there is with other information of Mr. John, if any information, for example, his address is changed, so what will we do? You will go to 52 records, change his addresses. It's a time consuming job. So with this database normalization, what we do, we separate the business entity tables, record it once in the table, for example 108 Mr. John, male gender, and make a relationship with the data table by giving a unique reference number. And then last one is it's easy to analyze. We can easily analyze the complex calculations, right? So in our example, we started with a fact table that contained multiple information of two business entity, that is customer and product. Then we separated this business entity into customer table and product table, recorded each information once in the table. Finally, we record all the sales data in the data table, right? So technically, when I'm using the word business entity table, it is known as lookup table. And the second table, as I'm using the word data table. The unique reference available in the lookup table, that is customer ID or product ID, this ID is known as primary key, and the reference we are using in data table is known as foreign key. We can see that the fact table contains multiple times customer ID, product ID as highlighted in this screen. Same multiple times the data table is repeating this ID, but lookup table has only single recording of this ID, right? So if we want to summarize all of this conversation, we have taken a look of data table and a lookup table. before that we have take the look of fact table, right? So lookup table are also known as dimension table, lookup table, reference table, same as data table are also known as fact table, transaction table, or data table. So in dimension table or lookup table, what we do, we store all the static information that contain the attributes of the business entity. In our case, customer ID is the ID which belongs, customer ID 108 is the ID which belongs to Mr. John, having the gender of male, with the particular address, particular contact number, particular other information. So this information is static. Whereas in the data table, we will record all the numerical facts. How many times Mr. John is coming, what product he is buying, at what price he is buying, which invoice we are issuing to him. This all information will be recorded in the data table, right? So second attribute is in lookup table, we define the relationship with the primary key, which is uniquely identified by each row of the table and match the foreign key in the related data tables, as we have seen in the previous example. Simultaneously, foreign key is used multiple times in the data table, which is linked with the primary key of the lookup table. So now the question arises, what if I am maintaining a fact table containing all the information of my business entity, my daily transactions in a single database? How can I separate this single database into business entity tables, that is lookup table, and the data table, that is the transactional table? So Mr. Edgar F. Cott has introduced this concept of database normalization, which is based on relationship model. Relationship model, the relationship that is created by primary key and the foreign key. Each table in the relationship have certain qualities, which I am going to tell you in the another slide, in the next slide. Before that, we have to keep in mind certain important terminologies. A table represents database entity or business entity. The row is known as record. The column represents attribute, right? So what's the difference between row and column? For instance, if I am designing a table, the table header are primary key, that is customer ID. The table header is name, address, date of birth, contact number, ID card, or any other information. So these are the headers. This header must be unique, not repeated again and again, right? Similarly, under all this header, I have to record all of my information. For example, ID 108 refers Mr. John name, gender is male, address is ABCD XYZ, and his contact number is again this row will contain information related to Mr. John, and this will be related to Mr. 108 ID in whole of the data model, right? So the key is unique, used to identify our unique record in a table uniquely. As I have said, that this key will be used in the whole data model, either by referring primary key, either by referring foreign key. So these are the three stages through which we can normalize our database. The first normal form is we have one column with the one value and no repeating groups. The second one is we should comply with the one NF, and again we have to make sure that all the non-key fields should be dependent on entire composite primary key. And the third one is same. We have to separate all of these business entity from the fact table and design into a separate lookup table, right? There are other forms also, but as per my experience, almost 90 to 98% applications is satisfied at 3NF stage. with this note, how we can do normalization. We can use SQL. We can also use DEX. We can also use Power Query. Since we are working on Excel environment, we are talking of Excel, Microsoft Excel. So I am eliminating SQL. DEX, yes, it's possible, but it's not recommended. For any type of data manipulation, we always recommend, Microsoft always recommend Power Query. So let's have a look how we can do normalization, data normalization from denormalized data to the normalized data through Power Query. So here is a database of AventureWorks. Let's have a look. The first column header is order ID. The second is order number. We can see that each of the order number are uniquely identified. Then we have territory key. Then we have order line item, order quantity, product key, product subcategory key, product name, style, cost, and so on and so forth. Let's call this data in Power Query. I've already worked on this data to show you a demonstration how we do, to show you the steps, how we normalize data from denormalized data, right? So when I call this data in Power Query, the Power Query pop up a message of errors. It tells that there are 39,165 errors found in your records. Okay, no problem. Since it's affectable, there are chances that there is a chances of errors. So let's open this table in Power Query. Okay, so this is a Power Query environment. I hope you are familiar with. Since we are working, this webinar is on Power Pivot. I will not communicate or speak on much more on Power Query. I will just demonstrate the steps or the procedure included in transforming denormalized data to the normalized data, right? So we have go through this database. Now let's have a look on our steps. The first form, the initial step, the first form is one column, one value. Second is no repeating group. So let's see. The order ID contains information about, or order date contains information about order date. That's good. Order number, simply order number. Territory, okay, okay. Order quantity, okay. Product key, single value. Product subcategory, single value, okay. Now there is a catch. Product name contains three information. One is for product name, second is product color, and third is product size. Okay, so this column does not satisfy our first NF. That says one column for one value. So what we have to do, we have to split this column. I've already split this column. How we split this column? We have to select the column, go to home, split column by delimiter. Since we have the delimiter of comma, we will select the delimiter, each occurrence of the delimiter, and okay. By pressing this okay, we will get all of this data separated into single column, right? Now as the rule, we have to define unique column headers. So second, what I have done, I have renamed all of this column, that is product name, product color, product size. Rest of the column satisfy the condition of one NF. Let's move on to second NF. That's tell that one table should be, the table should be one NF. Yes, our table is satisfy the condition of one first normal form. Second is all non-key fields should be dependent on entire composite primary key. Unfortunately, none of this column is satisfied, it has the composite primary key. Just for the sake of knowledge, I am just demonstrating you what is composite primary key. Let's suppose that this 312 is repeating, this also repeating on the 15 row 312, right? So if we want to make this number unique, what we can do, we can just select this column, right click, merge. This merge, what will do? This merge will combine this both the column and give a unique reference number. This is known as composite ID. This is just for the example. Might be possible this merge of the column may not create a composite ID, but for the sake of the knowledge, what is composite ID? When we merge two columns to create a single unique ID. So in our case, there is no form of 2NF. Let's move to the 3NF. The 3NF said that the table should be in 3NF. Yes. All known key fields should not be dependent on other non-key fields. Okay. How we can achieve this? To achieve this, divide the table to a separate table based on all transitive attributes. Now let's move on to our model. Here we have territory key. Okay. We have product key. Okay. We have product subcategory. We have already seen that these key are used as the foreign key or the primary key. Now moving forward, we have product key, we have product subcategory, and we have also the product information. What we can do, we can separate this product information into a separate table, which I have already done. This is the product table. What I have done, I have extracted information from product key till product price in this product table. Okay. And since we have to make all the primary key unique, what I have done, I have select this table from the home tab, go to remove row and remove all duplicates. This remove duplicates will give me a unique record of all this product key. And this product key I can use in this sales table. Simultaneously, I have also extracted data of product category. I have also extracted data with the same approach. I have also extracted the data of product subcategory, same with the customer. And now I have designed this flat table as the data table, which contains order ID, order number, territory key, order line item, order quantity, product key, but no product informations. Since this product key is associated with product table, I have just used this product key in the product table as primary key and will be referring in it as foreign key in sales AW data table. Similarly, customer key is the foreign key in this table, whereas customer key is primary key in the customer table. Simultaneously, this is the through these steps, through one NF, second NF, third NF, I have normalized my data from the flat table, right? Now this flat table is no more used since I have arranged my database as a normalized form. I am just right click, delete this query. Yes. And from this product table, I've extracted this tables, that is product category, product subcategory. So this product is also a flat table. Right click and delete. Now all of these four tables, that is product category, product subcategory, customers, and product data table, are dimensional table that contains primary key, and the related information, right? Whereas sales AW data table is my data table that contains foreign key and the transactional records. Okay, so with these steps, with this Power Query platform, we can transform a flat table into a data table. We can normalize the denormalized data sets. Okay, so here is a summary of these steps. If one NF is satisfied, we can promote to second NF. Else the relation is not in any NF. We have to create it. Similar steps will be performed in Power Query, from which we will be extracting business entity information into separate tables, removing all the duplications and refer it. This lookup table will contain all the information in the refer by the primary key, and we will use in the sales table. In the second NF, if it is satisfied, we will move to 3NF. If not, we will again move to previous step of either to 2NF or 1NF. So with this note, our first objective of data model is complete, right? Moving ahead, the second objective is creating table relationship in Excel's data model. So with this, I am closing this Power Query platform. Okay, close and load. You can see that initially the flat table contains 39,000 plus errors. By this normalization steps, all of these errors are eliminated, right? So hence we have seen that normalization help us to modifications, minimize errors and anomalies. Yes, through Power Query we have confirmed it. We have seen that the Power Query through these steps of normalization in Power Query, we have eliminated all the 39,000 plus errors that were appearing in flat table. Now the second exercise I have to show with you guys. Okay, is on creating table relationships in Excel data model, right? In Microsoft Excel 2010 onwards, Microsoft has given an age of Power Query and Power Pivot. 2010 and 2013, we have to download this add-in from Microsoft website and install it as per the our bit of Microsoft Excel. This bit can be checked through our account page in the backend of the Microsoft Excel, where you can see these bits. Okay, so I am using Microsoft Office 365. I have the built-in version of Power Pivot. If you are using Microsoft Excel 2010 or 2013, you have to download it from Microsoft Excel website. These add-ins are free, available on Microsoft Excel website. So how we can approach Power Pivot? We can approach Power Pivot either through data, this manage, data tools and manage, or Power Pivot manage. So there are two ways to approach Power Pivot in Microsoft Excel. One way is to go to data tab. Under data tab on the data tools, we have this go to Power Pivot options, or we can go to Power Pivot tab, and through Power Pivot tab we can go to manage, right? Let's open the Power Pivot environment. As I open this Power Pivot environment, I can see some of my available AdventureWorks data that we have previously normalized. I have put all of this file in this data in this Microsoft Excel Power Pivot environment. So a general and basic knowledge about how to import these files, and we can, on the home tab, we have all the options of getting data from external tables. We can get data from SQL Server, we can get data from Access, we can get data from analysis service. Same, we can get data from OData. We have other sources. In other sources, we have SQL, Azure Analytics Platform, Access, Oracle, IBM DB2. We have Microsoft Analysis Service, reports, customer feeds, and we can also import Excel file and text file, right? So text file, we can import TXT file or CSV file. We can put both of these files through this option. Okay. So what I have done, I have just opened this. Go to text file, next, file path. I am just giving the file path. This is the normalized file of Avenger Works data model, which we have go through in the previous section. All of this file has been imported in Power Pivot except returns, which I am demonstrating how we can import this file in Power Pivot. So again, we have to go to Power Pivot environment. Under Power Pivot environment, home, from other sources, text files, next, file path. We have to give the file path, browse, and this file has not been imported in Microsoft Power Pivot. I am just clicking this file and open. It will take few seconds to establish a relationship with this file. Since it's a CSV file, so it has automatically detected that the column separator is comma. If not, we can also change this comma separator type. I am checking this use first row as the column header, since my first row contains the column headers. Just and finish. It will take few seconds to build the connection and import all of this record in the Power Pivot environment. So the successfully 1800 plus rows has been transferred in the Power Pivot environment. Okay, so we have all the lookup files and the data files of Avenger Works in our Power Pivot environment. We can view these records through these tabs by clicking on this tab, just like Excel, and we can view these records. Okay, just or we can view all of this record in the diagram view. In diagram view, you can see all of this file in a canvas through which you can establish relationship. As I said earlier, data model will not work until and unless a relationship has been established between these tables. So to establish a relationship, we have to be familiar about the primary key and the foreign key, right? Lookup table and the data table. So these are the certain terminologies we have to be very much familiar about in working with Power Pivot data modeling, right? So back to our presentation. Here is the sum of the facts about creating a table relationship. Many tables needs relationship, agreed. We have seen that to create a relationship, we have to work with primary key, foreign key, data table, and lookup table. Links to table, yes, we can link to table. Linking more than two table will make a complex data model, and it will be complicated to handle in future as the data grows. Best practice is to give same column name in all of the tables you are using. For example, if you are using order ID in the lookup table, give the same order ID in the data table. It will be help you to match this column easily. Okay, and the last one and the most important, remember, independent tables which share no connection or relationship is not our data model. It is necessary to build our data model. You have to connect or build relationship between these tables. So this relationship can be either of three kinds. Let me full screen this. The one is one-to-many relationship, right? In one-to-many relationship, what we do, we create unique records in the lookup table as one define Mr. John, second name Michael, and so on and so forth. This one will represent in all the data model to Mr. John. The second will represent Kevin. The third one will represent Linda. And number four will represent Manuel. So this is how we create in one-to-many. In our lookup table, we have only one record available, which is used multiple time in the data table. We can see that ID order A, order date is ordered by Mr. 1, that is Mr. John. On B, the order was placed by Mr. 2, that is Kevin. On ID order C was placed by Mr. John, since we have ID 1. D order also placed by Mr. John. So this is how we create one-to-many. In our lookup table, we have only single uniquely identify primary key, use multiple times in the data table as foreign key. Number second, we have many-to-many relationship. In many-to-many relationship, what we do, we can create primary key multiple times. Simultaneously, we can create foreign key multiple times. Think as a common person. If I ask you to represent whom, Kevin or Linda, you will be confused, right? Same the case is data modeling here with. If we are using multiple primary key in the lookup table, the data model will be complicated to understand which one is called in the data table, right? And the third one is one-to-one. In one-to-one, we have only one primary key and we have only one foreign key. So if we have recorded Mr. John first time, the ID will be 1. In the data table, the ID will be 1. For instance, Mr. John come another time. We will record this John information with some other ID, and this other ID will be related in the data table. For instance, the other ID is 10. So next order by Mr. John will be identified by 10. So for each of the records, we have single ID, single primary key, and we have single foreign key. This type of relationship is known as one-to-one, right? So recap this: one-to-many, we have one primary key used multiple times in the data table as foreign key. Many-to-many, we have multiple primary key in the lookup table used multiple time in the data table as foreign key. One-to-many, we have one primary key in the lookup table used once in foreign key, once in data table as foreign key. So this is known as relationship cardinality. Cardinality refers to the uniqueness of value in a column, right? So how we define this relationship? Going back to this, most convenient way to define cardinality is one-to-many approach. And in this data model session, in this webinar, I will be using one-to-many approach to demonstrate you how we create data model in Power Pivot. So to define this relationship, we can use either of these three schema. The one is star, the second is top-down schema, and the third is snowflake schema. Let's see what's the difference between. In the star, we design this tables in the star shape. On the center, we have fact table, and on the edges, we have the dimension table, right? So let's move on to our data model and design this adventure model as star schema. I know that my sales data that is available here. Okay, before going in details, certain hacks about this environment. We can zoom out and zoom in. By pressing this fit to screen button, we can fit all of the table in the single environment. Okay, we can just drag and drop to move any of the table. Just click on the header and move any of the table. By this button, we can maximize to see all the fields of the table. Okay, okay. So I am putting this sales data in this center and all the dimension table on its edges. Right? Just spreading out this table to have the clear look of this all of these fields. Perfect. Right? So what we can do now, it's time to create a relationship. To define a relationship, let me adjust my screen. Okay. To define a relationship, let's concentrate on the data table, that is the sales table. Okay. The first item of sale table, the header column header of sale table is order date. Second is stock date. Third is order number. Four is product key. The key automatically make my mind to think about foreign keys since it's a data table. Now I have to look on the lookup table, which lookup table have defined this foreign key in its as primary key in its headers. So this is the product key. Okay, checking all the dimension table, and here I found the product key. Just clicking on my foreign key and create a relationship with this product key. The relationship established. We can see that this relationship is defining as on the foreign key side is showing a static mark, and on the dimension table is showing a 1 mark. So that means that this record is represented in this tables only once, whereas as primary key we know that, and this record and this primary key has been utilized in this table multiple time, infinity time, known as foreign key. Perfect. Second, we have customer key. Again, clicking on this customer key, dragging to this customer key dimension table. It will create a relationship. Again, we know that this is the one-to-many relationship. We have single primary key in the customer dimension table, and we have multiple foreign key in the data table of Avenger Works sales. Simultaneous, we have territory key. We will click and just perfect. Now we have order line item and order quantity. These represent my sales records. So there is no dimension table available for it. We can also create an order date table with the calendar table, right? Okay. So this is known as star schema. Star schema is defining or designing your data model in the star shape, right? Where in the center you have fact table and on the edges you have the dimension tables. Then we have top-down schema. In top-down schema, we place all the lookup table on the top and the fact table in the center down to the lookup table. So let's design this model. Let's place all of our lookup table on the top. This is on the top, 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 and this is my, so this is known as top-down approach, yeah, or top-down schema, right? The third one is snowflakes. Up till now, what we have seen, we have one fact table which is connected to multiple dimensional table. Each fact table and one fact table contains foreign key which is repeated multiple times in the table. Whereas in the dimension table, we have single primary key defining all the characteristics of the particular business entity. This approach is very common and suitable for a star schema or top-down schema. When we want to connect lookup tables or to create relationship between lookup tables, this type of schema is known as snowflake schema. So up till now, model with a single table for each lookup or dimension are called star schema. Now I have another lookup table for the region, and with this region table, I want to establish a connection, establish a relationship with the this lookup table, region lookup table with the store lookup table, since I have the available ID, region IDs available in store lookup. So this type of relation or schema is known as snowflake schema. So what is snowflake schema? Snowflake schema is model with multiple related lookup tables are called snowflake schema. Recapping, in star schema or top-down schema, we have one fact table connected to the multiple dimension table. In snowflake schema, we have one fact table connected to multiple dimension table. Simultaneously, we have relationship between lookup tables as shown in the screen. So back to our model, we have product subcategory key which can be connected to hence the relationship established. Okay, similarly we have product category key which can be connected to this. So we have create connections between all of this table. Still one table is left. This is my fact table because it contains primary key for the territory, for the product, and my return quantity information. Let's see. On the data table, let's see its return table. Product key are, we have multiple. Territory key is a foreign key. What about the product key? We can also see in the filter we have again multiple product key. When the table contains multiple keys, it's known as foreign key and is represented in a data table. So let's connect this. Let's understand how we connect this type of fact table with the lookup table. The approach is similar. We have to just drag and drop the return date with the date table, territory key with the territory, product key with the product key, and return quantity is my numerical value which I will be using in aggregation, summation, or analytical work, right? So this is how we build our data model. So simple, so easy. Now here are few things that we have to remember. Number one, how we can modify this table relationship. Okay, we can modify this table relationship. Just click on this table, double click, and you can modify the relationship by changing the column if you have selected inappropriate column. to modify this relationship. How? Just double click on this solid line representing the relationship between fact table and the data table. Just double click on this solid line and you will be entering into a relationship environment when you can see both of this table, that is data table, fact table, or you can see lookup table with the lookup table in the Snowflake schema. You have to just select, change the column and press OK. Second, we have active and inactive relationship. This is important. We have only one calendar table, dimension table, only one date calendar table representing the date. And in the sales fact table, we have two dates, which is connected through order date. As I click on the solid line, which is representing the relationship between calendar table and the sales table, it's highlight me is as it has highlighted the fields that are connected, that is order date and the date. If I want to connect this stock date with the date, it creates a relationship with a dotted line. Dotted line represent that this relationship is inactive. How we can check? Just click on the just double click on the dotted line and you can see that active checkbox has been disabled. This means that we create only single, we can create one relationship active. If we have one table having multiple relationship, we can only activate one relationship at a time. If we want to activate this relationship, for example, if I double click on this, activate it and press OK, it will show me an error. So if I want to activate this stock date relationship, I have to disable, first I have to disable this order date relationship and then again click on the stock date and make it active. Now, why it is important to create relationship? When you will be using DEX, you can utilize this relationship in writing a DEX formula. Commonly used DEX is for this type of relationship is use relationship DEX. Through use relationship DEX, you can create or activate this relationship in performing calculation, right? So number third one is connecting multiple data tables. We have seen that yes, we can connect multiple data tables with the dimension table separately. We cannot connect this return date with the fact table. This is a wrong approach. We have to connect this data table fields with either of the dimension table. We cannot relate fact table with the fact table. However, we can relate lookup table with the lookup table, that will be known as Snowflake schema. We have then filter direction is important. Yes, we have understood that when I am creating a relationship, it is showing me one and static that represent one to many relationship cardinality, and the filter flow is towards my data table. That means that when I will call any information, the information will be transformed from the lookup table to the data table. Okay, this one is important. When we are working on a data table, we can see all of these fields, right? For example, imagine you are working in a pivot table. You can see product category key in event work product category table. You can also see this product category key in adventure work product subcategory. So there is a duplication of work in the pivot table, duplication of fields table. To make the client or to make the user more convenient with the pivot table analysis, we can hide this repeated fields in the data model. The best approach to hide this repeated field is to hide all the fields that are available in the data table and connected with the lookup table. So in this case, I am hiding this order date. How we can hide? Right click, just click the table, under the table field, right click and hide from client tool. This field will be no more available in pivot table. However, this will be working in the backend but will be not visible for the customer since it is already represented in calendar and is also related with this data table. Same, the stock date, height, order number is not related. Product key, yes, I make a relationship with the product key. Right click, height. Customer key, right click, height. Territory key, right click, height. So when I will be doing my analysis with Power Pivot, I will be just dragging and dropping fields from my dimension table, and using my fact table for the aggregation and analysis, right? So this is the another scenario we have to look in. And the last one is defining hierarchy. What hierarchy do? Let's suppose you want to call and you drop region in the pivot table for analysis. You want to automatically drill down this information as region, country, and continent. So what you can do, right click, create hierarchy, right? So this is my location hierarchy, for example. And under this location hierarchy, you can see that I have region. I can also add this country in the hierarchy. Just right click, add to hierarchy location, and it will be added to location hierarchy. Similarly, the continent, right click, add to hierarchy location. Okay, so this is how we can create the hierarchies. So this is all about the data modeling in pivot table. Before that, we have understood how we can denormalize data to normalize data. Then we have gone to the steps, 3 steps to do this conversion of normalized data, denormalized data into normalized data. After that, we have analyzed and understood the data modeling in Power Pivot. Further on, we are now moving to Power Pivot actual analysis, how we do analysis in Power Pivot. Before that, just a recap why we do data modeling or why data modeling is useful, because it's help us to find correct relationship, turns complexity into performance, and we can easily write and think for the complex formulas. Since we know the relationship between all the tables, whether it is dimension table or with this lookup table, we can easily connect this relationship. We can easily connect the fields to for the aggregation, for the analysis. Okay, so this is why data modeling is useful. Now the third is what is Power Pivot, and how we are working with Power Pivot. Once we have made all of this data model, now we are moving to Power Pivot. For Power Pivot, we are again in the Power Pivot environment, Home tab, Power Pivot table, and just click on the pivot table. It will ask for the new worksheet or existing worksheet, just like normal pivot table of Excel. Okay, right. Just changes its layout. Now you can see that all of my Avenger Works table, whether dimension, whether data table, are available in Power Pivot fields, right? I want to analyze certain things. For example, from the calendar, I want to analyze date wise my sales or quantity. So I have taken column header from one table and doing analysis by taking field from another table. This is the beauty of Power Pivot. You have break the data into small chunks known as lookup tables containing all the static value about the particular business entity, recording all of your transaction data into another table known as data table. Both of this table, dimension table or lookup table, and the data table are connected with a key for the for data. For lookup table, this key is known as primary key, and for data table, this key is known as foreign key. Then you have built a relationship, and now in this Power Pivot, you can easily select any field from any table, just drag into the parameter of pivot and get the numbers, right? One more thing, the fields that we have already highlighted, right, are not available in Power Pivot, right? You can see that we have only 3 fields, whereas actually we have more than 3 fields, but only 3 fields are unhide, and all the other fields are hide. So whatever fields you hide, this will be not appearing in pivot Power Pivot environment, Power Pivot field list, right? Again, going to Excel. One more, we have created a hierarchy in the territories, just dragging this hierarchy in the column. Now you can see, as soon as I just click on this hierarchy, I have, or let's suppose dragging this out and yes, I can analyze my data with respect to region, with respect to country, and with respect to continent easily, because I have made a hierarchy in my data model environment under Power Pivot, right? Same, this is the beauty of Power Pivot. What is the difference between Power Pivot and the normal pivot? Normal pivot can analyze one table at a time, whereas Power Pivot can analyze entire data model containing n number of tables. We have seen that. Normal pivot can analyze values, has the capacity of single Excel worksheet that ends on 1048576 rows. That is the maximum capacity of a worksheet in Microsoft Excel. Whereas Power Pivot to give you unlimited data capacity, whether you are connected that's data from SQL, Oracle, IDM, any source. You have n number of data capacity to make analysis. Normal pivot limited to relative basic calculated fields, whereas in Power Pivot you can use DEX, which are highly powerful and analysis, right? This is the beauty of Power Pivot. Power Pivot enables you to analyze unlimited number of data, divide it into n number of tables, and perform complex calculation with the help of DEX, right? Okay, going to on the last session of our today's webinar, this method of analysis, how we can perform analysis with Power Pivot or normally in Excel. As per my experience, my knowledge, I generally perform 8 type of analysis. When I'm doing any kind of analysis work, I perform 8 type of analysis, right? Number one is comparison analysis. The comparison analysis allows me to make analysis between two variables. For example, how many cars has been sold in a particular year comparing with the last year, right? So this is the comparison analysis. Trend analysis is about time, how much we have gained, how much we have lost in a particular segment of time. Ranking, which product is on the top, has this top sales in the whole sales catalog, which product has made the maximum contribution in the profit, that is contribution analysis. Variance analysis, what was the budget for the particular production and what we have done for the what we have actually made in the production cost. Pareto analysis, one of the most suggested in my as per my knowledge. Pareto allows you to do contribution analysis by identifying the most 80% and 20% rule, that is which product has made the 80% contribution, right? Okay, and the correlation is about the data, scattered data, and the frequency analysis is the number of times our commodity has been repeated in the data source. So this 8 type of data analysis I prefer and I generally do in my analysis work. Now to do this analysis, we can create either calculated column or we can create either measures. So what's the difference between measures and calculated column? Let's understand by this example. For example, in our customer table, I want to calculate the age of a particular customer. I know that my customers are different from each other. Each customer has separate attribute, right? That means each customer age will differ from another. So this type of calculation that is segregated on raw level calculation is known as calculated fields. So if I write a calculated column here equals to I am analyzing the date of my customers. So this is my age, this is my column name, dated if, this is the formula we generally use in Microsoft Excel. Then what is my first date? The birth date is my first date. Okay, what is my second date? Today is my second date, right? Last one, in what category I want to show this result? I want to know the years of age. And you can easily calculate this age using calculated column, right? You see that I wrote a formula in a single cell and this applies on the whole table. So that means that Power Query does not, Power Pivot does not allows you to use A1 style reference, just like in Microsoft Excel environment where we have to freeze, we have to create relationship that is using F4, absolute referencing or relative referencing. This is not applicable in Power Pivot. We have to write a formula, either measure, either calculated column, and it will be applied to the whole column of a table. We can also use particular column of a table with the particular column of another table and create a complex calculations known as measures. So measures is a reference entire table or column. We know that calculated columns are computed at the row level, as we seen that once I have entered a formula, it has calculated all the age for my customers separately in a particular row, right? Unlike calculated measures don't actually live in the table. Yes, what is measure? Let's understand measures and then its description. So I am in my sales table and I want to know the total quantity I have sold, right? So just like, okay, before that, this environment divided by this gray line shows that above is the data table which has been imported in Power Pivot, whereas below this gray line is the area for major calculation. Whatever measures you want to calculate, you have to write that measure in this particular gray area, right? Equals to, I want to make a measure to sum my order quantity. So just like Excel, equals to sum, bracket open, and product quantity, bracket close, and you can see that it has calculated my order quantity for all the data table of sales data table, right? So this is measure, calculate and give your result in a single cell, whereas calculated column gives your result in all of the rows for a particular column. That is known as row level calculation, and this is a measure that is single, that applies calculation for the whole area, right? So if you are using a calculated column and a measure, it is suggested that your calculated fields should be placed on either of this area, either on the filter, either on the column, either on the row, either in the slicer, or either in this timeline, whereas your measure should be in the values, right? So this is a best approach for the calculated column and the measures to analyze in the Power Pivot. When you have done your analysis, when you have done your data modeling, you have created relationships, it's time to design a dashboard. Design a pretty dashboard, give a presentation to your management, give a presentation to your seniors, and get a praise from them. So in our concluding remarks, we have seen Power Query and we have also seen data model in Power Pivot. So these are not equal. They both have their own capacity or embed own domain. Query editor, that is Power Query, is used to connect data sources, clean data, shape data, structure and prepare data that we have used to in conversion of denormalized data into normalized data. Whereas in data model, we create relationships, we add calculated column, we add measures, and we do analysis work, right? So as a best practice, normalize your data model. Don't keep it in the flat file. That means a sheet containing all of the information, right? Divided it into a lookup table and a data table and normalize your data table. If you have not done it yet, please do it using Power Query, which is also available in Microsoft Excel. Organize your tables, lookup table and data table in a diagram view. We have seen three types of schema, that is star schema, top down, and the snowflakes, right? Then hide your fields from your client that are irrelevant or invalid for them. We have seen that fields available in the data table and also available in dimension table, we hide them to give client space in the pivot table fields to analyze their required result. And finally, know your data model inside and out. The more you are smarter in your data model, the more you have your data model information, the more enhanced and more simplest type of data modeling you can do with it as per your expertise, skills, and knowledge. If you are not aware about your data, you can't perform data modeling as per the standards. It will be complex and it will produce incorrect result in Power Pivot, right? So know your data inside and out. With this note, If you have any questions, we have 15 minutes to go with it. Else we can conclude the session. Rahim, what do you suggest?
Sohail, first of all, thank you so much for this wonderful session. I quite like your presentation and the way you have delivered the session. That's entirely commendable. And thank you for your time and knowledge for the Excel community users. Definitely, the participants like this webinar. Uh, Previously, on many of my clients, I have seen that 80% of time has been consumed in data modeling and cleaning up of the data. The visualizations and the Power BI and the dashboards is not much difficult as compared to the data model setup. And most of the users found uh, issues and problems with the data modeling setup. And you have covered so far very good concepts in this webinar. Thank you so much for that. And if any one of you have question, please ask Sohail by unmuting yourself. Sohail is available to give your question and answers. Sohail, do share your presentation in the form of PDF file, and if you can share the practice file as well, so we can
Sure,
send it to the attendees for today's as well.
sure. So with this note, I am signing out. Thank you very much. You can follow me on Facebook and also my YouTube channel. Thank you, Rahim, for this opportunity. Take care.